Welcome to the Architect of Resilience podcast, where we explore the secrets of overcoming life's challenges and unlocking unstoppable strength through deep personal conversations and expert insights.
I'm doing good. Oh my God, but your freaking performance last weekend, holy shit.
Dude,
like that was so not just like the numbers and the dot score, like all that, but just like 9 for 9, and then the quality of the fucking lifts, like everyone to your final, like just mind-blowing performance. Oh my God.
Yeah, dude, I had no idea that was gonna happen like that. I just made a post actually today on like failure because 10 days out from the FQ meet that I just did, I failed 622 on deadlift twice. The first on strength, the second on grip. And I ripped my hand and I kind of chalked it up to like, okay, well, the record's not going to happen. I'm just going to go have fun. And like, I really thought about quitting and like dropping out of the meet. But I was like, I've never done one of these meets before. All my friends are going to be there. My family's going to be there. Like, I'm just going to go have fun. And
do you think that might have shaped your performance for the better in some way?
Yeah, because it's like, I can't, obviously I love powerlifting. I've been doing it since 2018 or end of 2017. Like I love it. It's the only thing that I've actually stuck with. But after 2019, when I broke my first world record, it was kind of like, okay, the next world record, the next one, what number is this going to be? And I kind of like, I still loved it, but I didn't have like, sometimes the passion was lacking there. And it was like, I kind of put so much pressure on myself. Like it wasn't starting to be fun anymore. And so to be able to have that opportunity and kind of relight that fire was really awesome. There was just no pressure and it felt good to just go have fun.
I totally feeling you right there. Like once it becomes work and the expectations and all those things, sometimes when you just relieve that, and God, you can just see it in your lifts, like how much fun you were having that day.
Yeah.
Like that was really tremendous. Oh yeah. We should do intros.
Oh yeah.
So I actually like to make my guests intro themselves. So of course we could talk about all your, multiple world records, your first of this, first of that, bodybuilding, powerlifting, done some CrossFit. Yeah. Although I think that's pretty minor in the competitive scope of things. But I would like to hear an intro without hearing the accolades and the resume. It is, who is Brianny at her core? Like, what are your like values and drivers, and how does that interact with the world? How would you describe who you are as an intro without leaning on those things?
I would say that I am a very passionate, motivated, and sometimes kind of cutthroat person. I think, my dad was in the military, so I was raised in a military family. He kind of, take no shit, that type of thing. Like my mom and my dad always told me to, stand up for myself, stand up for others, be a good person. That's ultimately like what I want to be remembered by and who I want to, be and who I think and what I hope others think that I am. So, it's hard. Like it's hard kind of, and this is kind of like something that I'm dealing with internally right now too, is like, who am I without this sport? So it's still a work in progress, I guess, but regardless of the sport accolades and stuff like that, I'm just, I'm a daughter, I'm a girlfriend, I'm a sister, I'm a dog mom. I enjoy things like, hiking, traveling, eating a ton of food. So it's still a work in progress. I'm sorry that's a terrible answer, but I'm still trying to figure that out right now too.
Well, I think we're all trying to do that. And I was listening to a conversation that you were having on another podcast a while back though, and you had some realizations and epiphanies that were probably like 10 years ahead of me with where I was in the sport in regards to taking your time. Like I think you made a comment, you were burning too bright and realized it and realized you have a lot of time to accomplish these things. And just the level of maturity with that comment, and then not just the comment, but seeing you take that large kind of shift with what you were doing with your competitive spirit at the time was really surprising. And you talked about doing some self work or thinking into it after, one of those meets. But was there other factors? Tell us about, that shift. I mean, it had to come from just like more than one experience.
Yeah. So like I've been at the top since 2019. I always felt like I had to defend a record, do this, repeat the same kind of performance, competing all the fucking time, like at minimum twice a year. And it just got to be like too goddamn much, if I'm being honest. Like, if anything, like the pandemic, whenever the world shut down, that forced me to kind of take a step back and say, like, I don't have to commit to all of these things. I can learn to love training again, because it's like you get, especially with like social media, you kind of get caught up in being like, I just did this thing, I'm the hot new thing right now. But it's like, I learned as I kept climbing the ladder, it was kind of like, oh, I'm at this super big high, and the low is just as low. It's like, okay, what's next? Or that was it. And I kind of got to a point where I was like hitting these records or doing these performances, and it felt good in the moment, but afterwards there was kind of nothing, like kind of emptiness. And it's like, what am I chasing? And that goes back to even this competition, kind of like, because it ebbs and flows. I kind of find okay, I'm not really being fulfilled, and then something happens. I'm like, okay, I love this again. So it's kind of like just that endless cycle that I'm still working out how the hell to get out of. But again, a work in progress. I'm not even 30 yet, so I'm sure that'll come.
Yeah, in the commentary around the social media too. I mean, that is for a lot of people that aren't even, let's say, competitive, but maybe they're making a side hustle, or it's their career, or they want it to be. You see so many people that just like, you have to be there, you have to be doing these things, and everybody's out there saying what you have to do. You can't take a break. You got to post so many stories a week. You got to do, like, here's the things you have to do.
Yeah.
And you don't have to do any of those things necessarily.
And that's what I'm learning. Like, I've been more active on social media just because we've been doing like professional content when it comes to like lifting tutorials and stuff like that. But it's like, I wouldn't post as much if it wasn't for him. Like, I had the like, oh, I have to do this. I have to do this. I have to post this. I have to do this story. I have to do this for a sponsor or whatever. It's like, I really have come to the realization that I don't give a shit about it. Like, I don't care about social media. I know it's a great tool. I know it's how I run my business, but ultimately I do this shit because I like to, and I would rather me share things when I feel like sharing them, rather than it being just this forced, artificial, like, relatable shit to people where it's just regurgitated. I want to be me, and I can't force myself. It's not me to post every day. It's like, sometimes there'll be a month where I don't post or whatever. It's just, that's not what's important to me. My lifts and the impact I make on my clients and others who can learn from me is what really matters to me.
Yeah, I hear that through a lot of what you say, is like that driving is the impact for you, the working with people. And how long have you been doing that in that field? I know you were going to school for a while as well. Are you still doing that? Did you finish?
So I got accepted. Part of the reason why I moved out here to Las Vegas, because I got accepted into school. I was going to be like a registered dietitian or go into like kinesiology, because I don't have like any formal education. This is all shit I've learned from coaches around me, myself, stuff like that. So I ended up coming out here anyway, didn't end up going to school. And so I really started doubling down on coaching end of 2020. So I'm still fairly new to it. I'm still learning. I don't think I'm the best, but I mean, my athletes do good, and that's all I really care about.
Results matter.
Exactly.
So I asked you to define yourself without the accolades, and how would you define? So this is coming from somebody that's lifted more weight than any other like the weights that you did are like top tier for like like so many, like I can't explain it. If you, how would you define strength in both physical and mental sense?
Oh God. I think I value mental strength over anything. The ability to, like, strength to me is not just about what number is on the bar or when you win or you defeating the competition. It's you showing up every fucking day, even when you don't want to. Because there's days where I don't want to be in the gym. There's days that I hate powerlifting. There's days when things aren't going well, but do I do it? Do I still show up? Absolutely. There's times where I fail. Do I try again? Yes. There's times where I have shitty days and I don't even, like, I think the mental toughness and like the mental strength is something that I value. As far as like physical strength, I can't even this is going to sound conceited, but I can't even wrap my head around my own strength sometimes, mostly because sometimes it doesn't feel real to me. Like somebody else could do the same exact number that I did and I'm fucking amazed at it. But when it's me, it's like, yeah, it's just kind of what I do, So I think that with like the physical thing, like strength is relative. Some of my favorite lifts that I've seen or that I've helped somebody accomplish have been like 50% of what I can do. I think it's like, it's the story. It's what it took for someone to get there that defines real strength.
Yeah. I'm just reflecting for a minute on myself, and I'm thinking back of like reflecting on my own like lifting history and going, yeah, when I look back on like some of those things in the training cycles, I'm like, you can't do that. I could like, and I'm like, but they did. I'm like, no, but it can't, like, that doesn't make any sense. Like, that's not real. I'm like, how did that happen? Like, that doesn't make sense to me.
It's just, it's just something. I think also with the whole, like, it's just something that I do. I don't have, like, of course I have friends and people that support me who are like, yeah, you're amazing, but nobody in my circle kisses my ass. And that's what I think has helped me stay like pretty grounded throughout all this. Like, I don't expect or think I deserve any special treatment. I don't think I'm more important than somebody else. I don't think I should have priority over anyone else because of what I can put on the bar. I think,
that has no impact on who we are as human beings.
Exactly. Because it's like, no one's going to remember, like, there's going to be some fucking freak of nature, and I don't know how many years that's going to deadlift more than I. And that's okay. But the thing that I want to be remembered by is like the impact that I could have made on people, what type of person I am, how I've helped, people who are coming after me, who are coming up, things like that. So it's, the weight doesn't matter. I mean, it's pretty fucking cool, but like in the grand scheme of things, it's not the most important thing to me.
Yeah. Well, it is. You said you respect and think mental, the mental toughness, the discipline, the ability to pull those things off. And I view that as your lifting is an output of that, right? So it's not the lifting, it's the being able to do the performance of getting to, like, the work of getting there.
Yeah.
When can you trace back some early times when you started thinking or acting this way in your life?
Oh God. Fuck. I gotta like look back. I wanted to say like right after my first world record in 2019, but it's like I was 22, I was still fucking off, So it's like I had kind of the diet down and stuff like that, but I wasn't really like full bore into it. I would say
talking the lifting, I just mean from a perspective, and it could be very early in your life, maybe some influences. You mentioned your father in the military or whoever, but like how early in your life some memories of being outside the norm, of being focused, disciplined, and driven to accomplish something that doesn't.
Okay. Honestly, that's going to be my dad. Like, he would constantly make me do shit that I didn't want to do. He would take me to like boot camp classes. He would show me what hard work is. He would push me. So it's like other kids were going out, hanging out with their friends. And like, I was with my dad at the local YMCA at 5 p.m. till 7, fucking dying, running sprints and shit like that. So definitely. And even when I was younger, I was in sports. I was in gymnastics. I did volleyball, things like that. So that's kind of, I would say my dad is kind of the one who shaped me. basically to be the kind of person I am today that has discipline, that doesn't fucking quit, because he would never let me quit no matter how tired I was, because he knew that it would result in something great like it is today. So I would definitely say it was my dad when I was about 14, 15 is when that kind of started.
Okay. And when do you think you felt you started embodying that some of those traits on your own without being guided or pushed on that?
Probably when I was around 17. I had like gotten a car, and I would like, instead of him trying to like drag me to the gym, I would start going on my own and started doing my own thing. And then he started doing CrossFit, and then eventually like I started doing CrossFit, and he quit, but I kept going. So it kind of like starting to do stuff on my own. So he kind of shaped that.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Yeah.
What is the first time your strength proved invaluable outside of the gym or competition? And this could be before you got into competitive lifting, but when did you first realize like your own strength and realize that outside the gym? Let's dive into the world of optimizing your overall health. With pushing my physical limits, I encountered significant reductions in my health, and I reached out to Merrick Health as the premier telehealth service. I loved their personalized health coaching from the comfort of my home. They empower you with the choice of self-service diagnostic labs, or what I chose, the guided optimization with expert interpretations of blood work, health coaching, and with medications delivered to my door. Merrick Health is your partner in optimizing your health. Listeners can seize a fantastic 10% discount off their first blood work with code RESILIENCE at merrickhealth.com. That's code RESILIENCE for 10% off.
Oh God, Chris, that's a that's a really good question. I'm like trying to think, because it's like, obviously I don't want to just use like my most recent records from that, but I feel like the recent kind of records and the recent success I kind of have more of a connection to, just because it's so close, and it's just like I am kind of a completely different person than who I was, back then. Gosh. I don't even know if it was like a specific lift though. I would say the impact I've been able to have, and again, this kind of goes back to social media, is like, I think my impact isn't just the things that I lift. It's like the journey that I share. It's the way that I share my story. It's not all a highlight reel. It's to show, hey, it's okay to fail. Hey, it's okay that I didn't have a good day. Kind of showing people that they should keep pushing. And yeah, God, that's a fucking hard question.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. Sorry, we're like in the middle of moving too, so like my brain is broken right now. But I might come back to that question too.
All right, fair enough. Well, tell me more about what you were just talking about, like your most recent accomplishment, sharing your story, your journey, the highs, the lows. Like, what does that mean for you? And talk me through this experience.
This most recent one?
Yeah.
Oh God. I think that, again, going back, like with social media and like seeing so many people at the top, it's really, really easy to compare yourself and compare your journey to somebody else's. And I have been a victim of that. And it's why in the past that I haven't had so much fun powerlifting. It's why I talk about, chasing the next number, because I feel like someone's on my heels or trying to get something back that was taken from me. And I feel like being like completely transparent and showing both the trials and tribulations and the successes kind of like fully encompasses the journey of what it is to be successful in anything. And when I'm talking about success, I'm not even talking about elite numbers. I'm talking about if it's just fucking following your diet better, if it's doing that little thing that will help you just 1% the next day. I always say, do one thing today that sets yourself up for success tomorrow. Showing what it means to be elite without having to prove that on the platform every day. It's the decisions that you make every single day that can make or break you. And I think being transparent in that way has helped a lot of people kind of not only want to push themselves to that next level and whatever that means to them, but also learning to give themselves a little bit of grace and being okay that not everything is going to be perfect every day. Not everything is going to go your way.
I think that's absolutely fantastic. I think that's one of the areas that I see social media being toxic is people, not just the highlight reel, but the people trying to show what you need to do, but coming across in a very, preachy manner, or,
Yeah.
better than thou type approach. And I think this message around giving yourself grace is big. It's not all wins. It's not all beautiful. We have our ups and downs and our painful points, and we all have struggle. There's no perfect path. So I absolutely love that you take that approach with what you do, because that I think that is probably more empowering than anything, when you see this picture perfect and all the things that you have to do, and somebody showing like, you have to be like me and do all this perfect, is not something that actually gets people on board.
And that's why
believing they can do it.
Yeah, and it's like that's why I like to share little tips of what I do for my days, or it's like I like to follow other people to see how they do it, because it's like there's so many ways to skin a cat. I'm not saying that my way is the perfect way. It's just what works for me. And if I find something in a month or two or a year down the line, I'm completely open to changing my ways. And I think that's what helps people at the top be so successful, because they're so open to feedback. They're so open to changing things. Whereas you have like sometimes the less accomplished or the newer lifter that's just like, it has to be this way, it has to be perfect. And it's like, it really doesn't. Life is all about adapting. This entire sport is all about adapting. If you can't do that, you're in for a really bad time.
Oh man, I just love when I'm traveling and I see people that are like, I can't go, where do I go that has a gym that has this type of bar and this type of plates and all this? And it's like, I don't want to sound negative, but like, they're not even at a like state level,
Yes.
And they've got to have all this, for a 1.5 times, body weight, like, lift. And it's like, I know people that are world class that lift with a bent bar and clingy plates and, on plywood, because that's what they have. And they make like, and they walk in and win national level meets. Like, you do what you need to do. Like, it's not, you don't have a perfect world to live in. I always find that just hilarious.
Yeah. And I think it's interesting too, because I'm kind of like in that middle generation of like knowing kind of like the OGs of the games, like, like Zahir, or like all those old big guys, where it's kind of like that kind of culture. But then I'm also currently in that culture of like, I have to have this specific thing and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, those guys were doing crazy shit. Like you were doing crazy shit. It was fucking amazing. But now with that kind of new mindset, although it's kind of annoying sometimes, I feel like because of that, we're kind of in the golden age of powerlifting, because even though these fucking kids are annoying as shit sometimes, the fact that we're seeing 180-pound dudes deadlift 900 pounds is fucking insane.
Well, I know so much. I mean, it's just crazy. Like the knowledge that's available. I'm like, man, if I had that, like at my fingertips, because it didn't exist. Like the stuff that I was teaching 10, 15 years ago, like that was new. Now it's like everybody is just paired. Like it's all over, all this fucking knowledge. And you're just like, what people are doing. And the women, oh my God.
I know.
Let's talk about the explosion in female strength athletes. Like what they're doing right now is just like,
I love it.
You're like, oh my God, it's insane. Does that?
Yeah, I have this conversation with quite a few people, and like obviously I'm biased because I'm a woman and I compete in the female division in powerlifting. So it's like, yeah, we're like the most exciting to watch right now. But I truly think that women's powerlifting is like way more exciting than men's powerlifting, because the men are doing great, but it's like we've seen an 800-pound deadlift how many times? We've seen an 800-pound squat how many times? We're finally seeing women deadlift 500-600 pounds, squat 400, 500, 600 pounds. Like Christy Hawkins almost just squatted 700 pounds to the American Pro. Like we're just seeing shit that has not been done before, and it's so cool, and it's such an honor to even be a small part of that.
Yeah. No, that's I just cannot believe the numbers that are just falling, that were like people thought a female could never do, and now they're just like blowing through them in multiple people.
A 500-pound deadlift is like the new 405 for women.
Yeah.
it's just the bar keeps getting. It's so cool
Yeah.
to like see this shit.
I remember a long time ago. Pointless. Sorry, we're interviewing you, but I'm just like,
No
it
worries.
got me thinking back. But I remember in the 220 class there was an 8:15 world record squat by Konstam Pozdiv, and that had stood for years,
Yeah.
right? And 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 then 5 years later, 7 years later, you weren't even considered a decent lifter if you couldn't squat 800 in the 220s. People not realizing, like, that was the world record that people were trying to break for the longest time, this number that nobody could hit in that class.
I used to
And
eat every day.
now it's like, that's not even a, like, oh, you're an 800-pound squatter? Like,
Like,
all right, you got something interesting to tell me? Like,
that's what's so cool. 'Cause it's
and
like,
now it feels like that period is like definitely happening with the female lifters, where now it's just like we're just moving we're moving that bar to a whole nother level.
yeah, and it's like, where are we going to be in 5 years? It's like, I hope I'm still doing this sport in 5 years. I would love to still be competing, but if I'm not, it's like, who is the generation that's watching me that's going to come up and kick my ass? Like, what are they going to do? It's crazy.
Well, I think the knowledge on movement and training and nutrition, like that is all coming together to create this. We're seeing people be able to push things and not break themselves as often. I mean, you still bump against that, but it's just so much better. Like I said, movement patterns. Are there things that you do specifically to help prevent your injuries and help with recovery?
Yeah, so I get body work every single week. I see my physical therapist every week on Wednesday. I know that it's probably not the most ideal situation or the most like affordable situation, but I have decided to obviously like dedicate my fucking life to the sport. So like pretty much everything I do revolves around me being a professional. I say professional loosely because it's a very niche sport, but being a professional athlete. So I get body work 4 times a month, every single week. I am very diligent on my nutrition. I have a coach for my nutrition. Joe is my coach for powerlifting now. I do one thing.
Joe guy. Any good?
I don't know, some squatter.
Okay.
Yeah. He squats a lot or something. He's all right. But I'm diligent on my meal plan. I have like a checklist that I make sure I tick off every day. And it's just little things like making sure I get minimum 10,000 steps a day, making sure I get minimum 1.5 gallons of water a day, doing some sort of mobility at least a couple times a week. So it's like, I'm very diligent. I think that's what's honestly contributed, because in my 7, almost 8 years of powerlifting, knock on wood, I haven't had really a single injury. I've had setbacks, of course, but that's why I get body work all the time, to keep me in one piece. So
what do you do for your mental recovery, your finding space and time for Brianny? I know you're working as a coach, you're training, you're very disciplined, but what are the things that give back to you and help you recover in that regard?
I would definitely say I have put a limit on my social media use. I try not to be on there for more than 30 minutes a day. I have a timer on that because that kind of, again, makes me play the comparison game. I get too caught up in what other people are doing. It takes away from what I'm doing. I spend time with my family. My parents actually followed me out here to Vegas. They live like 30 minutes away. So
awesome.
Yeah, so I see them all the time. I hang out with my dogs. I go shopping. I meditate and just find new like fun things to do. Henderson, she actually moved here to Vegas, so we kind of make it a point to do at least like one friend, like non-food based activity at least once or twice a month, to kind of like, okay, we're not athletes, we're just regular people doing regular things, and we kind of like put everything else on the back burner and just kind of like hang out and be ourselves without thinking about barbells.
Yeah. Love it.
So, but definitely family time with dogs. Joe and I try to have a date night at least once or twice a month too. Just kind of do things that don't revolve around the sport.
Yeah, it's important to do that when your life is wrapped into that in all aspects. definitely see that with a lot of people that, are a trainer or own a gym and they're competitive powerlifting. Like everything that they do, their entire friend group, everything is all revolves in that same area, and then starts somehow defining every aspect of who they are. And
Yeah, which is like what I'm having trouble with. After we're done, after all this move is done, I kind of want to find like a different hobby. Like I was thinking about getting into pottery or something like that. Just something completely like out of the norm. But it's like I need to do something that takes my mind off that, because it becomes way too much a part of my personality. We also really like traveling too, so we're gonna try to do that kind of stuff. Go up in the mountains in Utah or something and hang out.
nice. You can invite me?
Yeah, come on. I know you like that shit. You like nature.
So yeah, I'm definitely a big proponent of other aspects, hobbies, as you can tell.
Yeah. Got the war rig behind there. Yeah.
It's just like, every podcast you're on or something like that, right? It's the obligatory, what's your next goals? What are you doing next? Like, it's all just very, like, everything is focused about that. And I find when it's easy to lose yourself, and then if something gets, it's not there forever, right?
Yeah.
And you've stated this before, but it can be taken from you at any time. And if that is like how you define yourself,
Yeah.
People get lost.
Yeah. Oh, I also got more into cooking recently. Your wife actually inspired me to buy a smoker. So I've been experimenting doing stuff, and like I look at her page all the time, and I'm like, I'm gonna make this, I'm gonna make this. So like I love looking at her page too. So I've really been getting into cooking more as well.
Nice. Yeah, I think she's gonna get back. She took a long break for the same kind of reasons that we're talking about. Like, I'm expected to do this, and this, and then she took a break over the summer with our daughter before she went into kindergarten. She didn't take any contracts with any companies, and spent some time there, and just hasn't been motivated to get back into it. She still does the same thing every day.
Yeah. It's like it turns from like, oh my God, I'm so passionate, to, oh my gosh, this is now content creation and nothing else.
Exactly.
And that sucks.
Exactly. So
yeah.
But yeah, I've been surprised at how many people have constantly talking about, following her food and stuff. I think people like her.
So
I am.
Every time we see a post of hers or like of yours and you're eating something, Joe's like, oh my God, he's just living the life, dude. I'm like, yeah.
I am. Well,
it's good to see you happy.
I'm thinking about I think it was when you met her. Maybe it was before. Last time I saw you. God, that was interesting. I got lost in the hotel lobby.
I remember you came out walking barefoot. We were looking at you like, is this guy, does he belong in here?
Yeah. I don't partake with the THC anymore, but I had way too much this day in Vegas, and I got lost between it somehow in the lobby, and I had to call for help, but I couldn't figure out how to use the phone. My cell phone trying and then I think Joe came down and rescued me, and then I went up to your guys' room, and I think I ate a bowl full of M&Ms like this big. So that that was and I had a sugar hangover, I think.
Worth it. Yeah, that was a fun time. That was hilarious seeing you walk down to that fucking lobby. God, good God. It was the you being barefoot that did it for me. I was like, this is on brand for him.
I don't like fitting the mold, I guess, or I'm just eccentric and odd, more the case. So
hey, it's worked. It's done you well.
Can you share a significant challenge you faced in your career and how you overcame it?
This is gonna sound. I don't want to sound conceited, but like powerlifting, like over my powerlifting career, like powerlifting's been pretty lax and easy for me. Not saying that I don't work hard, but it's like powerlifting and strength in general has always kind of come pretty easy to me. My career has kind of been linear progressing ever kind of since I started. So the biggest challenge for me has been learning to enjoy the journey and not just focus on the fucking goal, because again, you get to the goal and then you're like, okay, what next? I feel empty. And it's like I spent the past however long of prep focusing on this one thing, and I forgot to enjoy the training sessions. I forgot to have fun with my friends. I forgot to just truly be grateful for the fucking ability that God gave me. And that's been the biggest thing. So just slowing down, enjoying the journey, having fun. And that's kind of what I want the rest of my career to be, hopefully, if I don't fucking get too much in my head. But it's not fun being in this brain all the time. So yeah. that's probably been the biggest challenge for me.
What tools do you use to try to help you stay consistent with that, or catch yourself when you're getting lost in that?
Honestly, talking to Joe, talking to my parents, because like at the end of the day, Joe isn't with me because I'm an accomplished athlete. My parents don't love me because I'm an accomplished athlete. My friends, a majority of like my close, super, super close friends, I didn't even fucking meet through powerlifting. I've known them since high school. So learning, like having them remind me, even though I know deep down, but hearing from someone else, hey, your value isn't tied to the things that you can do. Your value is tied to the person you are, your personality, your heart, things like that. So just taking a step back from the sport and realizing like I'm not just Brianny Terry, the power lifter,
This is kind of how we open the podcast.
yeah, exactly. It's literally full circle moment. Yeah.
So a minute ago we were talking about female powerlifters and just like how explosive it has been watching the change, and really they are the most exciting part of the sport right now. I'll agree with you. Actually, I just had Tamara on a couple weeks ago as well. Yeah. What are your views on the general perception of the shifting changes, I guess, like the views of strength in general, and strength training amongst, I guess the normal general population, and, how that's been evolving and changing, and particularly as it relates to women involved in the strength sports? I know that's been a shift over time.
Yeah, because like I used to be like the cardio bunny. I used to be, I don't want to be big and bulky. I kept trying to like fight my genetics, and it's been really cool to be an example of some women for some women who know of me, to kind of like the quote of like take up space. Like it's okay to be big. It's okay to be strong. It's okay to be a powerful woman, and to see women like chasing that, being okay with eating, being okay with lifting weights, being okay with not looking like the normal type of girl. So it's been really cool to see the shift of thinking like strong is sexy, strong is fucking feminine, and kind of like taking the word femininity, turning it on its head. And it's like, femininity is what I deem it to be. I don't have to fit into this box of what you think this is. This is my journey. I care about what I look like. It doesn't matter what anybody thinks of that. And being able to just see the shift across social media of all of these women kind of like embracing that has been really cool to be a part of. So I really enjoy that.
Yeah, that's awesome. We get so caught up ourselves about thinking about what other people think about us. And at the end of the day, usually people don't think much about us at all, right? And so it's more our perceptions of what other people are thinking about us being the driver, right? And that's interesting when you flip that out there and realize how much of that is actually just you and maybe your insecurities and things that you haven't become comfortable with as well. And it's can be an eye-opening experience. And I love people leading the way with reframing, these societal expectations on things. And yeah, it's obviously I've been in the sport a long time, or yes, a long time. Very different now between, the 1990s and the 2000s and now, although online you still see very interesting people, but realizing they're giving a half second of thought to comments they make on, somebody, some CrossFit girl or something that's just
and it's
like
always a reflection of how they feel about themselves. Because it's like never has anyone who said anything negative to me or about me it's never anyone that's like done better than me or accomplished more than me, or the dudes that say that I look like a man. They don't even have a fraction of the muscle mass I do. So if you don't look like a man either. Like, so what's it's just so like over the years, because obviously the comments used to hurt me. It used to make me upset. I would cry. But kind of coming to that realization of like, you're not doing better than me. You're not as accomplished as me. You don't have the same amount of muscle I do. Like you're just a miserable person. It kind of shifted it to where it's like, I don't really get upset at that shit anymore. It's like,
it takes a long time to really come to terms and I think realize that. And I think, maybe less so as time goes on because people are growing up around, having social media and these other access for people to comment and things like that. But yeah, it becomes, there's a point where you just wake up one day and you're like, this is all about that. It's all about them. Like, and you can, as soon as you see it, it's just like, you see it.
Yeah. It's like, regardless, like you're still talking about me. You still gave me attention and I don't even know who the fuck you are. So like, I don't think about you, but you think about me. And I can sleep at night.
Yeah. There's been a few times in the last few years where I've dropped videos knowing specifically I'm dropping this video because there's going to be a whole ton of negative comments. And that's going to actually, this video is going to do really good. Yeah, and the people that need to see it, they're going to see it. But I'm like, it's going to be a driver because of X, which is negative about me. And I'm not trying to hide it. I'm actually like feeding into it a little bit, Or
it's like you could post something that's like not even controversial, but people will fucking hate it just because it's you that's saying it. Like,
yes.
So it's people are going to have something to say no matter what you do. When there's eyes on you, there's always going to be some sort of negativity, but the positivity is always way louder than the negative comments are. Yeah. And that's what you have to remind yourself of.
Well, and you guys have that, I say guys, because I'm like with Joe as well, like you're both, public, known figures in this realm. So getting it coming, I'm sure from both sides, being able to see that is, I'm sure, quite interesting.
Yeah. Cause like people historically have been like pretty nice to me on the internet, but because Joe has been in the sports for so long, because he has so many fucking opinions and he's not afraid to say them, people hate that and they dog on him. So in turn, they come after me too. So it's just, people are crazy. I don't know.
Yeah, Joe has definitely developed some really interesting like haters. I mean, I'm not on the internet enough anymore to really keep track of that, but I'm guessing from
you'll lose brain cells. Don't even get into it. But no, it's really interesting to be a part of. It's entertaining, sometimes hurtful, but most of the time it's kind of like we just kind of look at each other and read some of these comments and we're like, okay, whatever. Thanks for the engagement. Bye.
Yeah. So positive influences, in the sport. What have you had any mentors outside of, your coaches or people that you have looked up to that have influenced you within the sport?
Yeah. One of the first women that I really looked up to, actually, she's the greatest of all time since the American Pro, is Christy Hawkins. She's always been like a huge motivator for me. She's strong as fuck. I don't really know her that well on a personal level, but I've just always looked up to her lifting and to her performances. She's a great athlete. Other women, actually, recently she came on the scene. Denise Herber. She is from Germany. Mm-hmm. Her and I have been battling back and forth for the all-time world record. She actually just took my 75 kilo all-time world record at the Ghost Clash, and she is an incredible lifter. She is so kind. I really, really respect her as an athlete and the way that she performs. And she's so fun to watch. Other females, Sarah Schiff, she's awesome. She previously held the all-time world record heaviest deadlift ever. I took that from her at the American Pro. She's always been someone that I really looked up to. I'm trying to think of who else. Those kind of, I would say Christy has been probably the main one that I've been really inspired by.
All right, guys, we talk a lot about mental resilience on this podcast, but let's talk about another type of resilience. That's movement resilience. We want to move well, recover better, and do it for life. And it starts with your feet. And you can start today with Neboso. Neboso is a sensory technology company founded by a functional podiatrist. And all their products feature a texture to stimulate, strengthen, and awaken your feet. I use their splay toe spacers and neuroball to release my feet at the end of every day. They also have these textured recovery socks that feel like a mini massage when you walk around. If you're looking for an effective way to bulletproof your feet, head to Neboso.com. That's Naboso.com and use code resilience for 20% off.
Well, I really love the positive way that you speak about your competitors, and I think that that's really unique within strength sports, where you're friends with a lot of the people, or respect and have a mutual positive, instead of like trash talking or undermining or in some way of trying to hurt the competition, which I've seen in bodybuilding, I've seen in other sports, and it's been very unique. I remember when there was a bunch of us in the 220s going back and forth with the records, and if I had a good meet, the first person to text me would be Dan Green, right? And we were going and that was, it was really interesting, that, because I just didn't see that in a lot of other sports, and I've consistently seen it within powerlifting.
And what's really cool is actually speaking to that, when I just recently checked this record this past weekend, I took the record from Sam Rice because she took it from me, and she was one of the first people to message me and say congratulations, which I appreciated so much. I did not expect that at all, just because the women are very supportive, but there's also kind of like this underlying cattiness, because it's like, I respect them, but when it's time to compete, it's like, I'm coming for your ass. But one thing that I've realized within the past couple of years, it's like, yes, I'll obviously be pissed if somebody takes my record. It's like, that's my life's work. But I also have to remember, everyone cares about this just as much as I do. Everyone sacrifices just as much as I do. Everyone works just as hard as I do at this level. And who would I be to try to undermine that? Because I'm doing the same shit. And records are meant to be broken. So if somebody else does that, good on them, because they deserved it. They fucking earned it. So it doesn't make sense for me to try to take that from them.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
So do you have any advice for any up and coming women within, powerlifting or strength sports?
Run your own fucking race. You will be miserable if you try to chase other people. You will end up hating the sport, hating yourself, hating everything about it if you're only looking to chase other people. I learned that recently at the Ghost Clash. I was the one coming in with the all-time world record. I felt like I had something to defend. That entire meet was not fun for me. I did not have fun all day because I was so worried about what other people were doing, what this person was opening at, if I was going to be the last one to deadlift. And I was worried about everything else besides myself. And so you have to realize, you do this for you. And if you try to look at other people or you try to chase other people, it's not going to end well for you.
That is a great way to put that. For myself, that's what I did for a long time. Was, on my team, everybody loved announcing what they were going to do or announcing what meets. I would go in completely silent because I'm not doing this for anybody else. They don't need to know what I'm going to try to break or what meets I'd go to next or any of this stuff. Yeah. I just didn't feel the need to share because I did it for me, not for, those were my goals and objectives, and I didn't need to share that externally, and made a big difference for me anyway.
And that's exactly what I did for this most recent meet. I didn't tell anybody that I signed up for it. I let people know when I was 2 days out that I was competing. Yep. I cared about this meet, but I also I was like, it's not that big of a deal. I'm just there to have fun. I don't need to announce anything. I don't really need to post my training. The people that know what's going on are the people that I care about and the people that actually need to know.
Yep.
And it fucking paid off. So.
Yep. Yeah, I was actually sharing my experience to share with you.
yeah, exactly. So it made it a lot of fun.
Yeah. Well, we got to have the obligatory then. What are your goals in powerlifting? But yeah, like where are you hoping to take this as a whole? This journey of yours. I know there's a lot for you still to figure out at this point in the game, but we don't need the usual like I'm doing X meet and I'm going for X goals. We just talked about not doing that. So
yeah, I would. Not talking about numbers for now. I mean, obviously, I'll get to that or whatever. Just like my overarching goals within the sport. I want to continue to be a positive impact for women. I want to put a barbell in every young girl's hands and have them realize the power that they can hold if they just stick to something and have the discipline to do it. I want to expand my coaching services. I don't really know what that looks like. It's not that I really want to do, I don't think I want to do like the team and have like people under me. I just want to like expand it, whether that be an app, whether that just be generalized training programs, something like that. That's kind of something that Joe and I are starting to talk about and see how can I impact people beyond just one-to-one coaching. So doing things like that, traveling more for seminars, kind of being more hands-on within the community. I would like to get more involved in powerlifting and become a judge. I have a really good resource out here with Fight or Quit Gym and Mike Marino, who runs WRPF meets. So kind of giving back more to the sport in that way, not just me being on the platform, but being a part of others' journeys to the platform. And then as far as lifting, I have a meet, I'm 14 weeks out. But regardless of that, I would love to be one of, or if not the first woman to pull 700 raw. That's kind of the big thing. And then obviously I would love to shoot for the number one dots all time eventually. I don't know when that's going to happen. Hopefully within the next 5 to 6 years, that'd be pretty cool. But otherwise I'm not going to rush it. There's no point in that.
Love it. Love it. Well, where can people learn about your coaching services? Anything else that you want to share? All that good stuff.
People can find me on Instagram. It's just at Brianny T. If you'd like to inquire with coaching, you can just send me a DM, or I have an email button where you can inquire for coaching. I also do nutrition coaching as well. If you want to do both, one or the other, whatever. Not really active on any other social media platforms because I'm not a huge fan of them. So yeah, that's kind of where you can find me. I live in Vegas, always at Dragon's Lair or Fight or Quit Gym. So yeah.
All right. Anything else you want to leave our audience with?
I think that's pretty much it. I don't know.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, it's been a pleasure getting to sit down with you in my shop and shoot the breeze. I'm looking forward to next time I see you guys again. So
yeah, see you, man.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for having me on.
Yeah, thank you.